It is another week gone by, already week 6 done in the Canadian Football League. Just a few kind of observations as we roll on. We will start with the game on Thursday, and obviously the big news out of this one is Cody Fajardo going down with an injury. We will see what it actually is at the time of this recording, 11:58 on a Monday morning. Haven't seen anything just yet that would indicate what it may be. Montreal is on a bye this week, so we're probably not going to get anything. And now this is where I think a lot of teams went out and made some moves to address the backup quarterback position in the offseason. And Montreal has Caleb Evans back there. Caleb Evans is not going to lead this team to a Grey Cup, but he could absolutely... Sorry, adjusting light there. He could absolutely lead this team to still first place in the East, depending on where things are at right now. They're 5-1. They are 4 points up on Toronto and Ottawa for top spot in the East right now. They have a bit of breathing room, and I think he would be able to kind of hold it off a little bit. They have Saskatchewan then coming up on Thursday, July 25th. Saskatchewan also playing with a backup quarterback, and then I would say the rest of their team is better than what the Riders have. So all hope is not lost in Montreal if Cody Fajardo is able to come back in 3, 4, 5 weeks, something along those lines. Obviously, if it is an extended loss, this is still a very good team. And one of the things I said when I was on This Week in the CFL a couple of weeks ago is this team is built so that when Fajardo kind of like turns back into a pumpkin for a few weeks or whatever, like if he doesn't continue at an absurd MOP rate the entire season, the defense is still really good. The weapons around Caleb Evans still really good. Now, they didn't show it here against Toronto, who blew their doors off, but this is still a very good football team. On the Toronto side, it doesn't matter who's at quarterback. That's a huge win for them. If they lose that game, all of a sudden now, you have Montreal at 12 points, you have you at 4, and you can kind of kiss that first place in the East goodbye. And then all of a sudden, Ottawa's passing you after their wild win over Edmonton. So this was a big one for the Toronto Argonauts to get back on track. I don't think we learned a ton about this defense. I still think there are so many good pieces on this defense. This should be a good defensive football team, and I do think they will get there. But for the offense to put up that amount of points on Montreal has to feel pretty good. Winnipeg against Calgary on Friday night out in Manitoba. That was a wild one. I feel like both teams should come out of this one more concerned than when they came in. For Calgary to give up 41 points to Winnipeg with how they have been playing is a major red flag for a team that's supposed to be built on defense. But you like that Mayer was able to kind of step up in a few situations. And for Winnipeg to allow Mayer and this offense that had kind of been scuttling a little bit to put up 37 points on you is just, it's concerning. I don't, like I said, I don't come out of this game feeling better about either of these teams. I come out of this game feeling better about the two teams we're going to talk about next here in Saskatchewan and BC than I do Winnipeg and Calgary. In that game out in Vancouver, the Lions really do establish just how damn good they are. Vernon Adams, I feel like, I don't want to say has flown under the radar, but so much talk has been about Cody Fajardo, and so much talk has been about this resurgent Saskatchewan Rough Rider team that Vernon Adams is like, hey, just over here, maybe still best player in the Canadian Football League. Just wanted to remind y'all of that. Thanks, cool, great, awesome. That was an amazing performance against the Saskatchewan defense that has had some ups and downs this season, but it is still pretty good. Vernon Adams reminded everyone he is the best quarterback in the Canadian Football League and he is the best player in the Canadian Football League. And he reminded Saskatchewan there's levels to this game. And the Riders, even with a healthy Trevor Harris, I don't think are on the BC Lions level. That doesn't mean Saskatchewan can't finish first in the West, but I do think that it means come playoff time that even if the Riders do finish first in the West, they'd be home underdogs in the West Final. But I think this is going to be a legitimate battle for top spot in this division going forward. I don't think it's just going to be BC kind of running away and hiding, but I do think that it shows Saskatchewan they're not quite at that level just yet. And it's something we talked about on the Rider Happy Hour, which is coming back this week. This is a team that still feels like it's a piece or two away on the defensive side of the football. And then Ottawa and Edmonton, I am stunned that, again, as we sit here 4 minutes ago from when I last did a time check, I'm stunned that Edmonton hasn't fired their coach yet. Just absolute mismanagement at the end of this football game. They continue to have very poor execution. And it's something we talked about at the time. It's something we've talked about all offseason. The decision to bring in McLeod Bethel-Thompson feels like a mistake. Trey Ford was such a spark plug for this team a year ago, and to not give him the reins and continue to build off of his strengths is a major, major, major miss for this football program, and I think is setting them back. And we'll see. Like, again, I am shocked we haven't had the press release today that Chris Jones and everybody has been fired. And I get there's different limitations because of a stupid coaching salary, whatever. Changes are needed. Changes are absolutely needed. For Ottawa, it's 3-2 now, and they haven't looked as impressive as I thought, but I don't think they've looked as bad as they did a year ago. So good on you, I suppose, for being able to get out of that. But we'll do power rankings coming up on Wednesday. They're out now on 3 Down Nation, but I don't know, man. There's a lot that's kind of just clumped together right now in this league. It's been a fun year so far. Do not get me wrong. I have enjoyed the Canadian Football League this season, but there's some interesting things going on as we get ready for next week. It all begins. Also, this is a yearly thing. The fact that there are no CFL games on the Thursday that there's no sports on is utterly absurd. So we'll probably talk a bit more about that on Wednesday, but how you are not taking advantage of this opening in the sports window continues to boggle the mind. And even if it throws the schedule off for like a couple of weeks, just let it, because these are 2 very valuable games. And the fact that they weren't on Canada Day also, I think, is a really big misstep from them.